Joining me tonight is the man who's been a leader and mentor to ADH TV since its creation. Maurice Newman had a distinguished career in merchant banking and is a former chairman of the Australian Stock Exchange. He served as chairman of the ABC from 2007 to 2012, and he writes regularly in The Spectator and The Australian, and is a contributor to radio and television, where he's a staunch defender of free speech and the right to challenge the status quo. Maurice, welcome to the first time I've had you on Battleground. It's been, it's been remiss of me, but we can now redress that.
I'm honoured to be here. Thank you very much for inviting me, Nick.
I'd like to talk about ADH at the risk of navel-gazing a little bit, because I think it's important, and very important, the moment we're at with the government planning to introduce a misinformation disinformation bill, which could pose a real danger to ADH and similar platforms. But first, to put it into context, and in those days when you were chairman of the ABC, 2007 to 2012, 2007, if I recall rightly, was the year we got the first Apple iPhone. It was the real start of the smartphone era. And shortly before that, I think, Rupert Murdoch was in town. I was at the Australian, and I remember him gathering a few of us executives together and saying, forget newspapers, the future is on one of these, and held up a phone and said we'd all be reading our newspapers and watching television on it before too long. I mean, I just couldn't see it at the time, but obviously the man was possessed with considerable foresight, because that's what has happened in that intervening, 15, 16 years, not a terribly long period. We've gone from print newspapers and phones that we use just for ringing people up and chatting to basically ubiquitous broadband and everything available online, and that's changed things completely, hasn't it?
It has, and we now refer to newspapers and free-to-air increasingly as legacy media. More and more, particularly young people, get their news from social media, from other sites. They don't religiously tune in at 7 p.m. to watch the news, as certainly my parents did and I did when I was growing up.